Welcome to On the Corner of Main Street, presented by Plaza Hotel and Casino in downtown Las Vegas. Here is Plaza CEO Jonathan Jossel, Russell Aaron, Gary Vickery, and I'm your host, Lisa Melmed. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Hey,
it's
hello.
good to be back for number 2.
Good to be back here. All right, let's talk about why are we doing this podcast?
Well, I know that was a question everyone wanted to know after episode 1. So for me, this came out of, it actually started when a couple of months ago, maybe even more, I met a few of the downtown bloggers who were doing podcasts about downtown. I was a guest on a couple of them, and I was amazed by, one, what a loyal audience they had, but two, how much of the engagement it brought to me in terms of people reaching out saying, oh, would you be on this podcast, or asking me follow-up questions from it. It made me aware of how popular podcasts are. I'd never really listened to podcasts or gotten involved in them. So that sparked an idea of, well, maybe we should have our own podcast. And I have to tip my hat to the original downtown podcast crew who sort of made me aware of this. And then it evolved, and in conversation with all of you and a few other people, it was, well, people are fascinated by the industry. People are fascinated by the history of downtown Las Vegas, by the sort of mystery that surrounds running casinos and hotels, and being able to share those insights felt like something that would be of interest to people and allow us to communicate how we run the place, things that we have coming up, things that are important to us, and how we build relationships with people. And I guess the last thing was to share my story and to let people know how I got here, what I do, what I believe in, and what I see happening, and give people the opportunity to ask me any question that they want to do or talk about any subject that they want to talk about, which is something that I believe in and wanted to get across. And so here we are. And we named the podcast On the Corner of Main Street, which has a lot of different meanings to me because firstly, we are on the corner of Main Street. The physical address of the plaza is 1 Main Street. And growing up in England, this is interesting, my favorite band was the Killers. And interesting enough, the Killers are from Las Vegas. And they have a song which begins On the Corner of Main Street, which is probably my favorite song of theirs. And that was when I was living in England. And the irony or the chances that I would then end up running a casino on the corner of Main Street is pretty cool. So that's how the name came to be.
It's pretty cool.
And I believe there's a cameo of Jonathan in the Killers song The Man, which was filmed here at the Plaza.
Correct. Yeah, that I was in one of the Killers videos, which again, my friends in England were like, whoa, your favorite band growing up when we were young was the Killers, and now you're in one of their music videos. How did this come to be? In Las Vegas, in our own casino. Yeah, it was pretty crazy and very lucky.
I know we've done a lot of we've had a lot of people film here on property and doing anything. I know everybody remembers, back in the 80s, Biff Tannen's Pleasure Palace was the background of that was the Plaza. Lisa,
from Back to the Future.
From Back to the Future, too. Lisa, if you can go into some of the other projects we've done on the property.
Casino was filmed here. Oscar Goodman played himself in that movie as the role of a character's lawyer.
The scene of the movie that was filmed is probably one of the best scenes in the movie, where Robert De Niro and Sharon Stone have the famous fight in Oscars at the booth, which is still here today. That same booth is still in the same location. You can still get that same view that the movie represents. Mm-hmm. But I gotta tell you, Gary, you got to check out The Weeknd's new music video. That might be the best. It seems like it's an advert for the Plaza. The first 30 seconds is pretty cool.
Right under all those neon lights.
Those neon lights really are, they come across so well on camera.
It opens with that shot looking up at the Plaza, and we use that in a lot of our advertisements and marketing. And just looking up with the sky, then panning down and our lights. We have that pillar by the lights to show your neon. Like, you really encourage people to come take a picture.
I saw some people taking pictures under the lights last night. They looked like a younger crowd, and I couldn't help but think they saw The Weeknd's music video and thought, I want to go take a picture.
I did it myself. I on Instagram, I hit you up, and I was like, I'm so moved by this. I went film my own 10-second Instagram thing. Like, it was great.
It's happening.
Yeah. White Boy Rick was filmed here. We have some scenes from Prada and Kate Spade have come here.
And then you have movies, The Girl Next Door, The Hangover.
Hangover 3 was filmed here.
So it's definitely an
Get him
iconic,
to the
look.
Greek.
Get him to the Greek. That's
Russell,
my
Russell
favorite.
Brand in the showroom.
Yep.
Ooh.
Englishman.
That was in our showroom?
It was
Yeah.
our showroom.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to watch that movie
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
All right.
Funny.
Anyway,
Something different that you wouldn't expect working in a casino is working with film shoots. So, as you said, we're doing this podcast to talk about the gaming industry, downtown Las Vegas, what it takes to run a casino, learn more about you, Jonathan. So again, if anyone has any questions, please email us at podcast@plazahotelcasino.com. Tweet Jonathan at Jonathan Jossel. Or
I'm very responsive on Twitter.
And you can tweet the Plaza at Plaza Las Vegas. We want to know your questions. Anything from personal questions for Jonathan to the casino industry to downtown Vegas to even England.
Anything. Yeah.
Anything.
I mean, send in your pictures, anything you have. Like, I'd love to see that. Like, I have friends who were married here. I've gone through their photo albums, and they have pictures from, like, 71 when they were married here. Like, when we walk through the halls of the Plaza, especially, like, the brand-new convention space, like, there's all the old photos from even, like, the pool deck from where Oscar's, is now, but it used to be the pool. Like, do you like keeping those things around here?
Oh, I love it. I mean, those pictures of the pool deck are as classic as they come. I get probably every couple of weeks somebody will email saying, how can I get that picture? And we actually can make them here. So if you want one of those pictures, reach out to Lisa. We can get a picture made for you. I won't frame it for you, but I will ship you the picture. No problem.
No problem. We always love playing on our vintage Vegas vibes. Was what our brand really is based on.
Yeah, I think as we go through the Plaza and we look at the future, there's a theme between the casino carpet, which is the greatest casino carpet in the history of the world. The theme of the casino carpet when we were designing it was vintage Vegas meets retro Palm Springs. And you see there the brand of the Plaza, which now translates, which started at the pool deck, moved into the casino carpet, now the new rooms. And as we go, that's kind of the theme of the Plaza. And if you look at the carpet or the pool deck, you'll see a lot of the saguaros, the colors, the burnt oranges. The new Lux rooms were inspired by that theme. So, yes, that is something we're playing up and something that we're continuing to include in the Plaza's renaissance.
Well, let's touch base on the Lux rooms because we haven't spent too much time on it. So we just renovated 104 Lux rooms in our North Tower. If you want to kind of go into what inspired it a little bit more.
Well, we have 1,000 rooms here at the Plaza, approximately, just over. And we wanted to see what we could do with a remodel. When we did the remodel in 2010, it was fountain blue furniture, it was largely cosmetic. And I wanted to see what could we do to elevate it to the next level. And that meant really gutting the rooms down to the studs. We demolished the entire 4 floors. And we started from scratch. There was nothing remaining. We ripped out the electrical. We ripped out the plumbing. We ripped out the walls.
Just the main structural, like keeping it there.
We literally ripped out everything.
Interesting.
And we came back with what was a brand new room. We put in all new plumbing. We put in new showers. We put in new HVAC. We put in all new electrical outlets. And I think we now have 12 USBs in each room, which is obviously very important to people.
Absolutely. As we look into 2019, I know being part of the committee that helped draw up these Lux rooms, we took any type of guest feedback that we had, whether it was full-length mirrors or reshaping the size of the bathrooms, adding the USB ports and the outlets. We
added the RFID to all the doors.
Yep. Added RFID to
all
all
the
doors.
Alexas in the rooms, bringing technology now into there.
Lighting. Coffee makers, fridges. We listened.
I dare say that they are the best rooms in downtown Las Vegas right now.
I would like to think so. And obviously we encourage everyone to continue to upgrade their rooms because it just makes more and more people come downtown. And so we don't see it as competition. It's purely getting better inventory downtown that allows everybody else to up their games. And we feel like we proved that a remodel at that level makes sense, and for us. And hopefully we'll do a couple more rooms in that mold as we go through the years, continue to upgrade them. 2 years ago we did the rooms by the pool where we added patios. Last year was really the focus was all about these new 104 Lux rooms. They took longer because like I said, we wanted to do more and more, but we have a good model now for doing future rooms using that same design and template. So it will be easier in the future.
Speaking of new rooms and new developments coming to downtown Las Vegas and the Plaza, we have a very exciting guest with us. His name is Sam Cherry, a developer and head of the City of Las Vegas Planning Commission. So stay with us and we'll be back with him in a moment.
I'm Steve Heitner, the guy who said those famous words, "That's gold." So that's the name of my podcast. That's Gold with Steve Heitner. We try to expand your horizons.
It's intense, but only for like 7 seconds at a time.
I've had relationships that ran about that. We keep up on breaking sports news.
Well, wait a minute. Drunks and fornicators, I think they met in the first round of their playoffs for the right to go to hell. I think that was the way that worked, yeah.
That was the play-in game.
We are patrons of the arts. And then I also love the idea of the fictional autobiography.
Well, I didn't want to be sued, as you've learned. It's not fun.
And we take you new places.
Stop first at the RV Museum in Elkhart, Indiana.
I hear they have an amazing roadkill wing in there. That's amazing.
You got to say they actually have the first Winnebago that ever knocked a deer into the side pocket.
We're here for you twice a week. That's Gold with me, Steve Heitner.
In episode 1, we talked about a little bit about how I came to be in Las Vegas. And I told you about 2 gentlemen I met on my first day in Las Vegas. I'm very excited today to be able to tell you that one of those gentlemen, Mr. Sam Cherry, is joining us here.
Hi, Jonathan.
Hi, Sam. And, sure, yeah, he deserves a round of applause. He does.
Welcome to the podcast.
What happened in 2007 when I moved here was when Poyu gave me the opportunity, he told me there was this young, crazy guy building a high-rise in downtown, and I should reach out to him. So I actually emailed Sam, and I told him I was moving here, and I told him I didn't know anyone and would love to meet him. He replied a couple of days later and said he put me in touch with one of his people, brokers, and said he'll help you out. And I thought, oh, what a friendly guy. And I moved here in 2007, July, and I went down to this bar, and there was Sam Cherry. And to this day, he's become one of my closest friends, confidants, and just good all-around person to know, and helped me grow into the city and taught me a lot about it. But what always stuck with me was he was a young guy trying to make downtown better. And if you ask Oscar Goodman, who arguably is the most influential person in the history of downtown Las Vegas' turnaround, he will tell you that the number one person who came to him before anybody else and said, I'm going to invest in downtown Las Vegas, was Sam Cherry. So I guess my opening question to Sam is, why'd you do it, man? When did you decide you wanted to do it?
Why downtown? That's a good question. So at the time, I was just back from the Army from
Thank you
Israel.
for your service.
In Israel.
Yeah.
And thank you. And I was trying to find my way. I didn't graduate high school, so I had to figure out how I'm going to make a living. Business. I was going to be a golfer. Picked business and got into real estate and started buying properties with no money. And at the time, it was kind of dumb luck in Las Vegas. Property prices were going up, and I was able to just parlay and parlay. And
what year was this, Sam?
that started in the 90s, 97. And it wasn't until, I signed up for the Army program in August of 2001, and then 9/11 happened, and I still went a month later. Came back after that program, which was amazing, and it was a very difficult time in the world. Came back, and I brought Oscar a bottle of olive oil from a kibbutz that I had dropped off at his
Anyone
office.
that doesn't know, kibbutz is like a camp in Israel. That's what they call it, like a community living area in Israel.
Yeah, and I dropped it off and never heard anything. But at the time, I'd constantly hear Oscar talking about how important it was to revitalize downtown. And I remember in real estate school, they always said, pay attention to government money, like where they're putting resources and time and allocating things. And so I started to look at downtown. And one thing led to another. We found a site right down the street on behind where the current city hall is right now. And go to the site. I said, this is where I'm going to build something. I'm going to build a high-rise here, and there's going to be people that live here, and they're going to be condos or apartments. I wasn't sure. And another thing I learned at real estate school was that you always go back to the site multiple times so you can understand the environment.
What was your initial thoughts of downtown when you were looking at this site?
It was scary.
Really?
It was scary. The only thing that the city had done was 4th Street. So they put improvements for sidewalks. They put improvements for palm trees. It was the one place we could take a human being down and actually say, here's what the future looks like. The rest of it, you wouldn't take your worst enemy down there. And so I'm looking at the site, and then I come back at night, and I hear, F you and screw you and I'm going to get you, and then a fight, and I look up and I'm looking at this building and what the heck's going on here? Turns out it's the jail. So I killed that deal instantly. So now I'm looking and find a place on Las Vegas Boulevard in Hoover. And it was adjacent to 4th Street, which had the improvements. And then it had Las Vegas Boulevard, which the entire world knew that name, that address. You could market to the world with that. So we secure the site, and I call Oscar, his office, and now want to set up an appointment with him to show him what I'm going to do. And at the time, I'm 24. It was a long time ago.
I heard you showed up to that meeting on a skateboard and shorts.
That's a true story. So he makes it sound like I just showed up planned that way. I get a call from the office from Cheryl. You know Cheryl, that worked in his office, his old assistant. Says, come here in 30 minutes, you can meet with Oscar.
And at the time, Oscar was the mayor of Las Vegas.
He was the mayor of Las Vegas. And I said, well, I didn't know what to do. So I just rushed to City Hall. I was across town. I didn't know what to do. I was in flip-flops, skateboard shorts, and a little T-shirt. And I go in, and he's sitting on a throne, which you have here at the Plaza Hotel in Oscars.
It's like
he's sitting on
honor
that throne.
chair.
His honor chair. He's sitting on that throne. He's got accolades everywhere. He's got pictures of all these different celebrities and people he knows. And I walk in, and he looks up, and he has that look, that look kind of squinting at you and he just starts shaking his head. I haven't said a word yet. He's already shaking his head. So he just, what do you want? I was like, I just wanted to show you this project I'm going to do in downtown. What project? So I'm going through it with him, and he's listening, and he can see now. Okay, I might look like a schlep, but I'm trying to do something real here, and there's something real behind it. I told him we had the land, and I've already started selling units, and we're on the 12th floor of City Hall. And behind the 12th floor is the 95 freeway. You see the cars just going by. And at the end, he's like, Sam, if you're BSing me, if you're lying to me, I'm going to bring you up here. I'm going to throw you out of this window and onto that freeway. Needless to say, I was shaking like a leaf walking in and walking out of that appointment. But ever since that day, Oscar was the biggest fan, the biggest help, the biggest advocate. And just what Jonathan said, he was the really the person that pushed downtown to where it's at today. Obviously, a lot of people on the way to help that, including this team and Plaza with Jonathan leading it. But he was really the first one to keep pushing it.
So that was the beginning, and you built Soho Lofts. What everyone knows today is Soho Lofts. It's 120
units. It was a $65 million project.
First high-rise in downtown Las Vegas. First major investment in downtown Las Vegas. Ground up building. So
we were lucky that this was...
And that was 2006.
Opened in 2006.
Think about that. That's before... I haven't moved here yet. Poyu hasn't done anything here yet. Tony Shea doesn't know where downtown Las Vegas is yet. Derek Stevens isn't here. The Fremont Street Experience isn't here.
You had lived here, but...
I had been out to visit, but like I told you, there was nothing... Nobody's invested in downtown Las Vegas yet. Nothing that we all know of today as what it's become hasn't happened yet. But there's this young kid in skateboard shorts who decides to build a high-rise in the middle of downtown Las Vegas before anybody else. It's pretty cool. It's pretty amazing.
What kind of skateboard was that? Was it like a modern one, or was it like the old one with like the big wheels? Like
old traditional one.
Cool.
Yeah.
So fast forward to 2007, and you guys connect through email. What was your first impression of Jonathan meeting him?
Well, here's a person that comes across the pond, as they say, to the United States is very young at the time. How old were you at the time? 23. I was going to say 22. You're 23.
Who put you in touch?
Poyu.
How do you know Poyu?
So I'm great question. I'm sitting in the sales office and for Soho Lofts on 4th and Hoover. All of a sudden, door opens and in comes a team of people, and it's Poyu when they just purchased the Plaza Hotel. I didn't know him from a hole in the wall. And he comes in, we're talking. At the time, I was just getting married. We're talking. They leave. And then for my wedding, this amazing gift shows up. Open it up. Who's this from? Poyu Zabladovich from London. And I'm like, and I couldn't, who the heck is Poyu? Then it popped into my head. and from there, we've had a nice long history together of a friendship. And it was a very, very, very nice bottle of champagne. Unexpected. And it's an unexpected thing in these days when someone writes a card or sends a gift and you just, it just doesn't happen that much. You know, when something comes unexpected, not that you should expect a gift, but it just shows up from someone you really don't know. So there's a little more to the conversation you had. There's a little more feeling. There's a little more connection. And I wrote him back, and we just became friends ever since. And then all of a sudden, he's like, I have someone that's coming. I'm going to send out to Las Vegas. You're going to love him. He's a great kid. He was a kid at the time. He's 23. Just send him over. Great. Comes over, and here's Jonathan. And, Jonathan is as sharp as can be, and he was as sharp.
He's walking back in here now. So as you said that, he just walked in the door. And he said, "Here's Jonathan. He's the sharpest he can be. He's walking in here. This is great."
And here's someone that comes across the world, is dropped into downtown Las Vegas, is away from family and friends, and is said, "Go to Las Vegas and learn this business and manage these properties." And it wasn't like a little shopping center. At the time, Poyu was the largest landowner in downtown, if I remember correctly.
Largest private landowner.
Largest private, yeah. With multiple hotels, multiple properties, land. And here comes Jonathan to manage it and learn it. And prior to Jonathan, there was a lot of people that were that had been out here handling the property, and they had their own style and their own way, and some of them better than others. But one thing Jonathan did is he paid attention first. Instead of making decisions that were without thought, which happens all the time, he paid attention first to make sure he made the proper decision. And, when you're that young, because I was 21, 22, 23, trying to build things, you walk into meetings and you're across the table from a banker, from some type of person that has X amount of experience, and they look at you automatically as, who's this punk in front of you? Automatically. That's the first thing. And so if you can't gain their respect through conversation, through the knowledge that you have and the passion you don't have a chance. It just isn't going to happen. And so that's something that Jonathan has. He can sit and have a conversation from the highest level of any company to the person just starting off at any level of a company. And that connection is, you just can't put a price on that, to understand and to be able to utilize that.
Thank you.
So
where did you guys first met at?
We met
downtown
at Downtown
Cocktail Room? Do you remember what cocktails you had?
I don't remember the cocktail yet, but I do remember that Sam picked me up the following day in a fancy little white convertible. I don't remember what kind of car it was.
There's a Maserati.
Very fancy. I remember that, thinking this guy's cool. And he took me to a restaurant that we later ruined called Tinoco's. Tinoco's was a very famous restaurant in the Arts District. I say famous. It wasn't famous at all. It was the only restaurant downtown.
It was the restaurant, right.
It was the only restaurant any of us had back
It's famous in a way.
In a way, and it was in the Arts District. It was pretty cool. And we would go there, and Sam had a menu item on the Sam had an item on the menu named after him. which he had never eaten because he didn't eat meat. But for some reason, the guy named the chicken pasta after him.
Yeah.
And we went there for lunch, and then he gave me a tour of Soho, and I guess the rest is history. But we that was our first date. So
that was our first date, and not too long, you had an item on the menu named after you.
Yeah, I did.
The
I had
Jonathan
the Jonathan
Trio.
And then we took him and we opened him up in the Las Vegas club, and he opened up at Tinoco's, for anyone that remembers that, and it was excellent, but it didn't last, unfortunately, and that became the end of Tinoco's. I don't know whatever happened to him.
I don't know either. Yeah.
But it was fun while it lasted. I did also end up with something on the menu called the Jonathan Trio. It was 3 types of fish. But Sam, speaking not to fast forward 20 years, but you're building again. Where do you see the future of downtown, and where's it going?
Yeah, we're building again in the Arts District. We're doing apartments. Downtown's interesting. It went from 1-story buildings to high-rises, to a lot of proposed high-rises, and then a few built. And it skipped over that mid-rise component that every good downtown has. So it has, which creates a good mix of apartments for all levels of income, and makes it just a nice, diverse downtown. And so now we're doing a 4-story apartment project called Share Downtown. The Arts District is the hottest neighborhood, in my opinion, right now. I mean, it's just restaurants and bars and shops, and so it's something. That's where Soho Lofts is located, in the northeast corner of the Arts District. This is just south of Charleston. And we're going to continue to build downtown. We think that, the city's saying that the downtown can absorb close to 7,000 units right now, in between what's happening adjacent to the Plaza Hotel.
There's 800 apartments being built. Mid-rise.
Yeah. And
being built to the west of the Plaza in Symphony Park.
And I'd say with a more high-end design, with Symphony Park standards, and it's going to bring a great clientele to the property, to Oscars, and to the surrounding businesses. And then our stuff is, it's stuff that's $1,000 a month. We want people to live, work, and play in downtown. So hopefully we can market to all the casinos down here too. It's just a 4-block, 5-block walk away for the employees. Yeah. You can literally forego the car and just walk to work, or have a bike, or have things that truly make a good downtown.
I like the 5th floor. So, if it's open, you have a unit. I like the 5th floor.
The 5th floor, that's your number?
You want to move downtown, Russ? You want to live downtown?
I would love to live downtown. Just like being downtown, and there's always something to do, and there's always art with the murals, and there's always downtown with a lot of the graffiti, and just the art. The Vegas Golden Knights have a huge presence here. There's always the Vegas Strong. There's always something to go look at downtown. I would be here constantly.
Very nice.
What's amazing is 10, 12 years ago, you're looking at different projects and you wouldn't even walk down here besides 4th Street. And now you're able to develop something where people won't even need a car and just stay in downtown and freely walk around downtown. And it's a major progression to downtown in the last, 12, 15 years.
It's really kind of, if you think about it, the last major city in the country that doesn't have a true downtown. We just got sports. We're just getting stadiums. And downtown, you can see its growth happening on all levels. At the casino level, there's a time growing up here where the casinos used to be able to point at each one and say, oh, he owns that one, and that person owns this one, and have a connection. And those days are gone on the strip. You can see it now in downtown. I can point to Jonathan Jossel. You can point to Derek. You can point to Kenny Epstein, and you can still have that feeling, that connection to a human. And be treated like a human. I just heard that the Palms is doing, not Palms, other properties are doing
surge pricing.
Surge pricing, yeah.
Wow.
And I guess it just, again, is another way that it starts to lose a connection to me personally as a customer coming into a property.
What does that mean?
That means that, if the pricing's $2 at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it might be $8 at 9 o'clock in the evening.
Right, so if you're drunk out at midnight, the cost of a water bottle might go up by $3 versus what it is at 11 a.m.
Wow.
It's surge pricing, like Uber is on when it's busy. They do the same for the gift shops. I can't believe it's actually happening, but I guess
Yeah,
it is.
and I guess my point to it is there's only so much you can squeeze before people start to say, wait a minute, this isn't where I want to go, this isn't where I want to be. And I think downtown still has, it doesn't still have that same perception as the Strip. It has a feeling you can get some value, you can get some interaction, you can get some connection that is very limited, I'd say, in the other properties on the Strip.
I like what you said, how downtown is the last sort of downtown city. You're building apartments. Is there anything else you think is needed in downtown to make this a true downtown American city?
Yeah, there is. There's a lot that's needed. It's Class A office. Think about that. The major corporations that come in, that diversifies away from the casinos. It's nice to have the casinos here. It's the big economic driver, but it'd be great to have a tower, a Class A office building that had some tech companies, that had law firms, that had maybe gaming companies. Right now, the gaming companies are in the southwest part of town with the slot operators, and it'd just be nice to have some of that mix in downtown Las Vegas.
But it's coming.
And I agree.
It's coming. It takes time, and the recession set everyone back in 07, 08.
Yeah.
But I do think it's coming, and it's gonna happen down here. And then there's obviously the talk of Cashman Field being developed with the sports team. There's the idea of a grocery store potentially. It's the chicken or the egg conversation. But it's absolutely happening down here.
Yeah,
it's
coming.
coming.
Right down the street here is the new courthouse from the plaza that's being built.
That's being built, yeah.
Has there been any projects over the last 10 years or so that looked like it was going to be in development in downtown Las Vegas that maybe didn't come to fruition?
There have been so many projects, and I know Jonathan can attest to it because he sees most of them because they come to him for money.
I think the one that really upset me for not being real, because it wasn't real, but it was a great idea, was bringing back the railway between Vegas and California on the existing tracks.
Yeah.
There's all the talk of high-speed rail now still happening, but I wish the railway could have happened because the plaza sits on the railway tracks essentially, and we had the old terminal here. Can you imagine if every day 300-400 people got off a train from California into the plaza? That would have really been cool. I would have loved to have seen that happen, and they messed around with that for years and years, and they probably still are, but I don't think it's ever going to happen at this point.
Yeah, that would be a big economic driver for downtown.
Where's the train that's going to California? It's not to LA, but it's Victorville?
Victorville.
Well, that's the one they're talking about, the high speed. That's Virgin.
Oh.
They're working on that, but that's going to be south,
Gotcha.
down by the south. There was a talk of one from Grand Central Station in Los Angeles, in downtown, literally into the plaza,
Wow.
which would have been amazing. It would have still taken 4 hours on the tracks, but boy, would that have been cool. You could have got drunk, had fun, used your phone, and it would have reduced traffic on the 15. So that to me would have been the best project for downtown that never happened.
I did that for my 18th birthday. From Reno to Sacramento, you take the Amtrak and you go through like Tahoe, and it's all like snowy and like it's all picture perfect. And same thing, we drank, we did the whole thing. That would be a good time.
Yeah, that would have been good down here.
I love the trains coming back here. Like when I first started working here, I'd park in the employee lot in the south, and I would actually like walk the trains. And like I'm very much into that artwork.
You're a train spotter?
I'm very big into seeing people's works that like it took a lot of effort to get to that train, and then like they're spraying it so quickly, and it comes out. Some of them come out amazing, and it's like a free public art gallery. Like it's always moving, and I love walking past all of that.
That's cool.
Well, I know, Sam, you have a lot of places to be. You're also a planning commissioner.
Yeah.
So we won't take up your time. I want to thank you for joining us, and frankly for the vision you had, and for allowing me to be, not to be here, but to help me grow here and providing me support, friendship, and your vision into downtown, I think, is often missed by many people who, Oscar says, I think I said this earlier in a different episode, it was 12-year overnight success. You were here before anyone and deserve a lot of the recognition for what's happened in downtown from the early days.
Those are very kind words. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Sam, we would love to have you back on the podcast if you have any other
love to be back. A lot to
big
talk about.
Improvements to downtown.
A lot to talk about.
You can get all the updates for Share Downtown at Share Downtown on Instagram. You can also email us any questions you might have for Sam at podcast@plazahotelandcasino.com. You can tweet Jonathan at Jonathan Jossel. and the Plaza at Plaza Las Vegas. Thank you, Sam.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have a few questions from the people on social media. Again, if you have any questions, email us at podcast@plazahotelandcasino.com or tweet Jonathan at Jonathan Jossel, or you can tweet the Plaza at Plaza Las Vegas.
I have a question from email. Stacy writes in asking, what is your, let me get the question right, what is your relationship with the other downtown operators?
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. You know, when I moved here, it wasn't always good. There was some history between the Plaza, Las Vegas Club at the time, and the Fremont Street Experience, which I wasn't a part of the genesis of those issues. But I've committed myself to trying to work with all of them, get to know as many of them as I can. And you know, we are different to the Strip. It's unique down here in that we're all working towards the betterment of the area. The area thrives. We will do better, and so we're a team in that sense. Yes, we compete on a micro level, but on a macro level, we're all pushing for the same thing, which is the betterment of downtown. And I've seen a lot of support for each other. We talk, the ones that I know fairly well, we talk regularly. We're in constant communication, and we all support each other and cheer each other on, because what's good for somebody else is good for us. I think what Circa being built is going to be as good for us as anything that's happened in downtown in the last 15 years. So I got to tell you, we're big supporters of anyone coming into downtown and trying to make a go of it.
A wise man once said, the more boats, the higher the tide.
That's correct.
On the first episode, you were talking a lot about how we're not part of anything. We can really do what we want. We have that freedom. Is bingo one of those things? Is that something that, you know, no other properties do downtown? Was that something that you first saw as this is how to make us different from downtown?
Well, bingo was here when I came on.
Okay.
It just wasn't very successful. But I watched another property downtown try to do bingo, and they failed, and they stopped doing it after a couple of months. And it made me realize that maybe we have something unique in the sense of we're able to make it work here. And I learned a lot from the South Point and their game and a few of the other locals casinos. And we hired arguably the best bingo manager in the entire country, Weldon Russell. He's unbelievable. And yeah, we're the only ones downtown with bingo, but we made it a part of our brand. We made it a part of something we do on an everyday basis. We have it in our title, in our logo, and we love bingo. As you point out, nobody else has tried to do it because I don't think it's that easy just to jump on the bandwagon.
Sure.
But we've been doing it for many, many years, and we've grown it. We now do 6 super bingos a year. For anyone that doesn't know, super bingo is like bingo on steroids. It's 3-day extravaganza. We give away $175,000 over those 3 days, and it's become probably our best event that we do, and we're very proud of it. And I can see bingo growing a lot. Some people think it's a dying game. We see it as a growing game.
Wow.
Thank you, Jonathan, Gary, and Russ. We will be back next week. Tell your friends about the podcast. You can email us with any questions or comments at podcast@plazahotelcasino.com. You can tweet Jonathan at Jonathan Jossel, and you can tweet the Plaza at Plaza Las Vegas. See you next week on the corner of Main Street.